Oh, hey there. Yeah, Ben with the bonnet. I wear this every time I go out of shower. My hair is super wet and it's really really curly and just a lot. So I like to keep it closed up. Very unusual for me to make a video with a bonnet. I don't think I ever made a video with a bonnet. Anyways, what is this video about? Let me take this thing off. Jeez. I had a girlfriend back at the time. She told me that a bonnet wouldn't be a bad idea for me and for my hair. Getting too comfortable. Jesus fuck. So, South Slope Recording. History and what is this, right? Like what is this place? Where can we start? So, I'm the owner of South Slope Recording. My name is Benjamin Kotik. And the studio is based in Brooklyn, New York. This place, right? South Slope Recording. What is this place? What does it do? And the history of the studio. I think it's really important to touch up on this because I feel like first of all, never made a video on this page. I think it's not a bad idea either to start growing a little bit more of a community of people when I'm on travels, when I'm outside the States overall. Where should we start? I guess we could start with when I was around the age of 13, 14 years old. I used to be in a rock band and we would write songs, like a lot of songs. Either we would like play covers or we would write songs. Sorry, let me take a sip of my coffee. By the way, I hope you guys have something to drink during this little small video. Hopefully it's going to be small. I'm going to edit it through, of course. So when I was around the age of 13, 14 years old, I played the bass guitar. I mean, I still do. If you've ever been to the spot, you've seen it. I play the violin, which is my original instrument. And I make music. I compose. I write. One of the things that always bugged my mind at a young age was, why do we write music and then never record it? Like, why do certain things get written and they never get recorded? And why is it so complicated? Like, for me, back when I was like 13, 14 years old, to realize that there's a whole other side of creating music, which was recording it, which was putting it together, mixing and mastering it. I didn't even know what those terms were back then. Like, it blew my mind. And it blew my mind in the positive light. Like I wanted to really go in and make music and know that I can actually listen back to it instead of having to, look at a video of me performing in front of some few people at a festival or something, And I really wanted to have and really started and wanting to start to have sort of like a physical, or not physical, but you know what I mean, like just a recording that is good enough for it to be sent out to people to listen to and that could match the same type of quality as like Led Zeppelin, for example, or all these other great artists and bands. And I was kind of always bugged out about it because nobody around me knew how to do this. Like, nobody around me knew how to actually do these things. The band that I was in, we were under this music, I guess, after-school program called Brooklyn Music Factory, which they still exist today, actually. I think they actually grew a lot. So shout out to them if they're looking at this video, and they definitely do remember me, at least the owner. The owner of the company, he lived in a brownstone, and he would have a studio downstairs in his basement. So it was really cool, and this was the first time when I was like 13, 14 years old, I would go there, record songs with my band. And I was like, this is great. We get to record. This is so cool. We also went to another recording spot in Brooklyn. And the whole process, blew my mind because I really loved the fact that now it's not just me, fucking around with my teammates or my bandmates and just playing songs. And now we could actually record. But what really started getting to my mind is, how can I do this on my own? Because what I started to realize as I got a little bit older, of course, not a little bit older, between 15, 16. As I started getting slightly older and hitting more my mid-teens, I started to realize that I would have to pay for a lot of this stuff. And I would have to pay for people who are way more experienced than me to record me. And that really wasn't a problem, but it was more of a, how can I do this myself as well? Can I be able to record and make my own songs myself? Can I write songs down? Let's say, play the bass. I really got into guitars as well at one point. Play a guitar, I bought this Jackson guitar. If you've been in the studio, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I was really obsessed with Vinnie Vincent. Search him up if you don't know him. You know, so I had this whole vision in mind where I'm like, if we have all these equipments and these people could record us, record my band, record me, like, can I do this myself? And if I can, that would be amazing, because not only will I be able to record and create my songs, but I will be able to do it every single time I want to. And that started to become an obsession in my head. Like, I could write a song and literally get it completely finalized and have a finished song. And that was something that like fascinated me as a kid and fascinated me as I kept getting older. High school rolled in, and I tried to figure out when I can play around with recording stuff, with recording techniques. What do I need to record? I remember my dad gave me, what did he give me? He gave me like a Focusrite back then, which is like, I'm going to have a picture, of one of those things somewhere on the screen, if anything. But, you know, one of those basic little interfaces that you could get with a mic. I think I still have this mic. MXL, if you guys know this mic, that was my first ever mic. Yeah, this box has like all my tools. If I have any spare parts to the studio, or in this box. And I would, you know, find times during my high school times where I would go downstairs, record, make music, just to do, you know, very basic things. Try to see what I could do with GarageBand, right? Because that's like the only thing I had. I had a MacBook. I still have a MacBook, but, you know, I had GarageBand on it only. And I was just trying to make songs, make music, trying to figure it out. And it was a very complicated process because I was learning it all myself. I would look at channels like iMusic Mogul and you know, and try to recreate things and try to figure out how certain drums and kits work. And at the same time, I started also getting into songwriting because, as I mentioned, I was in a band. I was playing bass, so I wasn't really like a vocalist, but I really started to like vocals. I really started to like recording. I hated my voice. I mean, everybody hates their voice in the beginning, you know. So I hated my fucking voice. But I loved being able to write things down, record them, compile it into something, even if it sounded completely shit, like just pile it into something. I came with an album that I did. It's not anywhere. It's kind of like an album-ish mixtape that I did back in, 2018. It's called Murder on Cupid Avenue. And don't ask me for the name. I just named it the way it was named. Kind of a lovey-dovey kind of album. A lot of guitars, a lot of bass, a lot of voice. I had sad news happen at this time. My band wasn't a thing anymore, but I still met with the drummer, and we would have like sessions and mess around and try to figure out like drums. And I would like come into rehearsal spaces at Battalion Studios and like record him play the drums. It's kind of hilarious. So what I would do is I have like this whole album of like songs that really just had like him playing the drums, and then I would have to like use flex and like try to figure out how to make sure it's all on tempo, you know, because it wasn't getting all recorded. I was playing all the instruments except for the drums myself, and he was playing the drums, and we kind of compiled it and put a thing together. But like I said, it's nowhere to be found. If you really want to listen to it, then, you know, hit me up, and then I might or might not show it to you. I'm not afraid of showing it. It's just one of those early projects that you're not really gonna be putting out there and saying this is great, because it wasn't. It was ass compared to, I feel like, what I do now. But it's always a process of learning it. But anyways, I'm going a little bit off topic now. So how did the studio come to place? Why did I mention all of this? Why is this important? Where am I going with this? Well, I started to really work on not just being able to create music and create my own songs, but also being able to finalize them and being able to figure out a way to make sure that they can sound well, that they have some sort of sound and quality. And this is something that I fight with, and I think every engineer, every mixing person fights with, like, till they die. Like, this is something that, like, everybody always talks about they're great of a mixing engineer, but it's such a process to be able to learn how to mix and how to actually get tracks done properly. Because the word properly already in itself, like, what does that mean? Like, what the fuck does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? That's a very subjective thing. So for me to properly know how to finalize songs was always a process, and I was still very much at the beginning when I started the studio. So I started the studio at in my room, because the basement was always a spooky area. The basement was kind of like this dark room. It was, like I said, maybe I mentioned this earlier in the video. Like I said, I'm going to be doing edits to this, but this was nothing like it is now. It wasn't cozy, it wasn't friendly, it was just the typical basement, all right? It was old stuff here, storage, one big wooden working table that nobody used, a bed that nobody slept on, lights that were huge and very heated and wasn't maybe even healthy to breathe for a long time. Like, just not a good place, like not under really good conditions. Sorry, my tip of my headphones fell. Like, but just not in really good conditions to be living in and spend too much time in, and just, unless I would really living in, like, yeah, maybe, that would be better. But regardless, nevertheless, I had my room upstairs, and I would make music, record, and figure out, so sometimes I'd be here, but mainly I was up there, and that's where the studio started, upstairs in my room. It was very small. I had a mic, I had a little table, rounded table that I moved actually here. So if you've ever been in the studio, this is the table that I also started with upstairs. I just had it upstairs the whole time, and then I moved it down so that clients can come here and sit. And my first client, now speaking of which, was, I think it was at the beginning of 2019. No, not beginning of 2019. Beginning of school year of 2019. So what, that's September, right? So September 2019, I had my first class. This was my start of high school, actually. So funny enough, this is when I started high school. High school, sorry. Jesus Christ. So, fuck. So I started college. I went to Brooklyn College. Boom. Shout out to the sweatshirt. And I had my first clients. They were like from high school, and I don't even know if I was charging at this point. Like, it was one of those things that I was just working with people, and I wasn't even trying to charge them. Like, I was just trying to do and put in whatever I could and see what I could do, and it always came out somewhat nice. I was using these headphones, by the way. If you ever see me with these specific headphones, I took them from my mom intentionally, and she knew of it, and she was like not happy with it at first, because she works for the radio in my home country, and they gave her this, and like she was always like scaring me with talks of talks with along the lines of like, if you break these headphones, they're never gonna give me new ones. These are my only good headphones. So I was always afraid of using them, and whenever I did, I was trying to always ask her and get her permission. But the sessions were okay. I never looked at it as a business. I never really, I was just like trying to see, hey, like, let me record you guys, because I want to learn how to record, and I want to learn how to maybe record for other people and see if my skills are worth it for me to be, somewhat profitable in the long run. Which it, in the long run, turned out that it wasn't actually a bad idea. But of course, it's been a process. It's always been a process. I wasn't really thinking, like I said, about it as a business. And yeah, I also just didn't even have a name for it now, speaking of which. I had like Kotik Studios. If you've seen the website, then you know that I said, like, in the very beginning in 2019, I called it Kotik Studios. And that is what I called it at first, because Kotik is my last name. It's my artist name. And so Kotik Studios is what it became at first. The big upgrade that happened after that was me, and this was, I believe this was in 2020, like end of 2020, beginning of 2021, something like that. I think it was like beginning of 2021, actually. And this was me building a booth in my room. Yes, a literal booth in my room. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean by this booth and what this booth was in my room that had absolutely no space for a booth. Well, psych, I'm not going to show it to you because it's in the next room, which is the boiler room, and it's like just crowded with things. But I'm going to show pictures, so you're going to see the pictures right now. I'm going to edit them in here. And the booth was hilarious in many ways because it was like only 5'4" or 5'5" in height. And the way I structured it was that I took a blanket and I used the blanket as the roof of the booth. It was wrapped around a window so that I basically only had one window that was like where I could actually breathe into my room. The way that I solidified the roof of the booth, I guess one can say, was by screwing a doorknob on the ceiling of my room without my father's consent. Yeah, that didn't end well. Definitely should not have done that without not asking him. But there goes me being an idiot and being an ambitious idiot. Anyways, so the booth was somewhat sustainable, but it was such a momentary thing. Like, this was one of those things where when you see a friend really struggling with something and you're like, geez, like, I could see they're trying to find a solution, but this is just not it. Like, that's how my parents felt about my situation. They're like, I see that you are trying to make things more professional with this studio, but it's not working out. Like, this can't, you have absolutely no sunlight coming into your room. You're in this room all day. You are not able to breathe any sort of fresh air. And you are waking up and going to bed in the same stink. Like, this is and you're making your clients be in this room. Like, this is disgusting. Like, on a sanitation level, even if you got that window inside that booth opened up all night, still not really appropriate in any form or fashion. Which now I look back at, it really wasn't, and I'm kind of surprised that it went as far as it did. Regardless, though, good news came eventually, and that was my parents wanted to help me out because they saw that I was trying to do something bigger, and they saw that I wanted to take things a little more serious, because if I wouldn't, then I wouldn't do all this stupid ambitious stuff like nailing a doorknob on the top of my room and stuff like that, you know? Anyways, so what happened at late 2021, by the way, at this point we already had Sauce Level recording. I even got this wooden board and made and got these special neon lights so it wouldn't be like LED lights like everybody had. And I had these neon lights around the board, and the neon lights were great until they stopped working. Then I tried soldering some of the wires, like on some technician shit, and it didn't work out at all. I think I actually did, but then it broke again, and then I was like, all right, fuck this shit. And I think the board is actually over there. It is over there. I have this little wall of wooden boards in the very back, and one of them is actually there. And so then I just ripped the whole thing off, threw the neon lights in the trash because they were not worth it. But that was like one of the upgrades. I got a new mic, by the way. I know I didn't say that. I got a new mic, had a new interface. I still use this big boy right here, this interface. It's the Behringer interface. Say what do you want against Behringer. I don't care. This guy and this thing, not a guy, it's just a thing, but I love her. I just called it two different genders. Well, fuck it. We live in 2023 anyways. Has helped me tremendously, whether that was recording instruments. So don't insult my interface. Everything is self-funded. Did not have the ability to get the Apollo yet, but I work with the Apollo. I work with it in another studio, but I'm not going to talk about me working other studios. That's conversation for another time. But without further ado, so late 2021 rolls in, and my parents decide to do, and kind of do me a little surprise of some sort. And we both, I mean, it wasn't a surprise because I knew of it, but it was a surprise in the form of, we're going to help you by transforming the basement of our place, or this house, to a place where you can record, so that you have one, a room that you could live in, right? So your bedroom isn't a studio. You don't got to sleep and do everything in this one room. Number two, there is an ability for you to treat your room more as a bedroom. I guess that goes more to point one. It is what it is. But no, I mean, this was amazing. But yeah, so I guess point two, what I wanted to say with point two was that it's more of a professional setting, because it'll have all the professional needs it will need, or at least the right type of professional needs for for noise cancellation and stuff like that. And so late 2021 rolls in. We get these guys that we usually have for any kind of home repairs or stuff like that. And they go in, 3-4 of them come here and set up a vocal booth made out of plywood, which took them roughly about 3 to 4 hours to make. I have no idea how much money my parents paid for it. I'm sure it wasn't something too expensive, because it doesn't look very nice on the outside or inside. It was just raw plywood getting smashed and glued into this house. And then it was up to me to see how I could decorate it. And I decorated it quite well, I think. Overall, I put foam around it. I put LED lights. It was quite some work, actually. I think I even have like a photo of me, like, and tell my mom, like, hey, Mom, can you like take a picture of me just working inside the booth? At this point, maybe I've already said this. We were already Sauce Love recording. I didn't have webs or anything like this at that point. I think I started to work on a website in 2022. Yeah, that's when things started rolling up with the websites and stuff. And so for the first time I opened this up was in 2021, late 2021. We're talking like November, December. Worked on it, been here, did a lot of things, had a lot of clients. Then it kind of, I guess, I mean, I don't want to say the rest is history because a lot of things have changed between 2021 and 2023, including me having a website, me getting new equipment, me getting new speakers. I used to have Apogee speakers. Now I have same price speakers, but just different ones, M Audios. But they're amazing. I mean, Apogee really taught me how to perceive sound and perceive frequencies. And I guess, I don't know, I got a shock mount. I have a little bit of a cleaner space here. I clean up a lot in this space so it's not dirty. There's no dust. People aren't sneezing, doing all that crazy stuff. So yeah, as the studio progressed, people started getting more interested because it looked nice. This didn't look like a bedroom of some sort. I bought more LED lights this year, actually, in 2023. In 2022, like I said, the website, I've said this already like 3 or 4 times, whatever, fuck it. And I kept working, I kept doing things. If you want to see some of my clients, you can check out the website. There's a lot of people. Chris Rigo, did an amazing relationship with him. We used to go to high school. Aphrodite, I just finished her whole project. I'm thinking about doing an interview or doing like a little talk with her actually on the next couple videos on this channel, but keep it a secret. She has no idea about it yet, and I haven't told her about it. And I think she's gonna be with it. I think, but probably when I post this, like she probably will know, and we'll probably have a date and time set up. Hopefully, I wish. But yeah, I mean, things have been kind of going well here. I mean, everything outside of the plywood booth has been self-funded. I bought the foam, I bought the LED lights, and I'm very happy the way it turned out. The only thing that's problematic is the entrance. If you've been here at the studio, you know how tricky the entrance is. That was the one thing that I fumbled on. But honestly, now that I look back at it, there really wasn't much of a way, because if I were to shorten or make the entrance wider for people to enter, then there would be very little space in the booth, and I couldn't get rid of this thing that's blocking the door. I'm gonna have a pic of it throughout here because I want to move the phone. But yeah, so that was really that's the only downfall here. But other than that, I try to keep the space nice and clean. Oh, and by the way, I completely forgot. Yes, I work on Logic. I work on Logic Pro X10 actually, which is quite outdated compared to what the new Logic versions are. I've looked at the new Logic versions and I just don't think that they're that professional anymore. I think that there's something magical about the old Logic versions where it even looks like Pro Tools to some extent. Like you could literally, like it has the same kind of playable interface. Just Pro Tools is more of a key command because it's also for Microsoft and for, not Microsoft, what am I talking about? But for like PCs and non-Apples, and it's for any kind of, I guess, computer, you could say, rather than Logic is more of an Apple-based software. But yeah, I guess that's that. And I want to end it off with saying that, I'm glad and I'm happy that if you have worked with me, keep working with me. The sad news is I will be going back to the Czech Republic, which is my home country, in about a month. Now that we're in 2023, what's up with Brooklyn College? I'm graduating the 2nd of June. So, say what you want to say, but I'm done with it. COVID went, and I kept going. I'm very happy with how this turned out, and I will definitely be making more videos. And if you like this video, hit comment, or do whatever you usually do with YouTube videos, or if you just watched by this part, thank you. I really appreciate it. And I guess my last kind of words before I end this video is, if you are a studio owner, or you want to be an aspiring studio owner, I know I'm 21 right now. I know that for some of you guys, 21 is a crazy age to be doing all of this. I have a huge leverage, or I had a huge leverage. Currently, and I said that because I will be pursuing education out in Europe, I won't really be living here right now. Or at least my degree is for 3 years out there, but I will be coming back and forth, but it won't be like me staying here for like a very long time, for now at least. So, um, but I just want to say, regardless of what age you are and you really want to do music, just keep going. Just keep going. I never, and I said this again, I said this earlier, but I've never thought that I would go in this path that I went in this path. I've never thought that I would go and have a studio that I would be making some kind of money out of, that I would be actually providing results for people, that I'll be working at other studios, that I would be helping other clients outside of other studios, helping people just for mixing and mastering. It all started off with just me wanting to curiously know how things are getting done, and it sucked me in, I guess one could say. I guess that's it. Yeah. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. It's the end of May, so if you guys haven't booked a session, you book it. If you haven't seen the website, go see it. If you want some great offers like the report that I have on the website, all that kind of stuff, go ahead, search it. This content on YouTube is going to be very surface level, and the real good juice, like the stuff that's going to help my producers, my engineers, people who are watching this, is all going to be in those mailing lists and in those emails. So if you are interested in knowing more about my process, knowing about what I do, please go check out the website. You could even Google me if you want. But go for it, and keep going and don't stop. This is Kotik, Benjamin Kotik, and hope to hear from you guys, or you guys will see me regardless. So, ciao. Bye.